Hey y'all, hey, long time no see, talk, chat. Um, I'm just getting ready to do some work, some homework, and I thought, why not go live for a little while I am doing work, and I am cooking and reply to some emails as well. So I'm gonna be up for probably the next few hours or so. I don't know how long Facebook is gonna let me go live, but I'm gonna kind of talk through while I am doing my work, cooking and responding to emails. So if you are hopping on to chill with me and chat with me, let me know so I can say hey to you, because I feel like I haven't spoke to you all in a video in a long time. And so I would love to just acknowledge you and give you some virtual love if you're gonna chill and chat with me for a little while. So plus I have some stuff that I need to update y'all on anyway. So who's watching? It says I have some people watching. Let me know who's watching. Let me know that you're here. Let me know if y'all can hear me as well too. I might need to put my headphones on. Let's see. Put my headphones or one headphone in so you can hear me better. Go from there. Try to connect and see if it'll pick up on it. Let me see. Maybe y'all can hear me better. Can you hear me better? That looks so much better. The little microphone is turned up now. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just chilling. Like I said, I'm here gonna do some schoolwork, gonna respond to some emails, and I'm also cooking. So I'm gonna be up for a few hours. And I just thought I would hop on here to just chill and chat with you all and give you all some updates, some revelations that I've been having, and some things that I've just been working through with my business and Cultivate and all of those great things. So, let me see. Here we go. Okay. So lately, what have I been up to? I have been up to basically reframing and rewiring my brain, reframing and rewiring my perspective on things. As I have unlocked, or let me see, what's the best word? Uncovered some things that I feel like no longer resonate with me, and I feel like are beliefs and narratives and things like that that I know I have to get rid of if I decide, or since I have decided, of course, to always grow and glow into a different space in a different place, right? So just some limiting beliefs that I had, partially from childhood trauma, and just some things that I realized were correlating with some stuff that was going on in my business, the major pivots that I have done this year, things that have occurred, of course, in personal life in the background, and just some revelations to myself as to how I want to continue to show up in this business, in this life, and just in any and everything that I do, right? So lately, I've been having the revelations around like I said, the limiting beliefs. So like a lot of childhood trauma related things, a lot of mother daughter relationship related things, even daughter father relationship type things. And I have literally just been opening my mind up to what those things are and how they have shaped my reality over time. And so I have had the pleasure of releasing a lot of dead weight over the past few months. And it has been a joy. It has been a joy to get to know myself again, to do self discovery again, to really isolate myself and focus on everything that I have going on, focus on pouring into myself because it's most important. And just focus on restructuring what I really want Cultivate to be and how I want it to actually show up in society. And then how that actually ties into how I show up in terms of my personal brand, what I bring to you all in my community, and what I share with you all. And then, of course, from the business perspective, that in terms translates into what offers I present, what are some things that I'm doing in my business that look a whole lot different, and just how I decide that I want to continue to serve those that I have been serving, and or add additional audiences that I know are truly around or resonating with where I'm going. So a lot of limited beliefs that I've just been releasing is kind of like going through a little bit of grief in terms of like, I guess what they say this is like shadow work, right? So kind of going through a little bit of grief in terms of like being okay with telling myself that I am never gonna be the daughter or the adult that my mom decides has ever decided that she wanted me to be. And also understanding too that the standards that she was holding me to are unrealistic because they're standards that she wouldn't even meet herself, quite honestly. And then taking that same belief and understanding into how other people in my family have also locked me into some of those beliefs and some of those limiting behaviors, which help shape kind of like my perspective and how I show up in terms of performance. And when I say performance, I'm saying in terms of how I actually like whether I show up in authenticity or whether I show up in terms of me performing for somebody else in terms of trying to seek validation or acknowledgement, things like that. And so I have really been working towards releasing a lot of that because I realize a lot of the things that I have built, a lot of the things that I have been exposed to, a lot of the things that have kind of like formed my thinking and my thought processes as I have developed as a young woman, those things were just not great anymore, according to where I am going. So I've been going through a little bit of grief in terms of just being okay with letting those particular ideals go and letting those representations of who my mama thought I was supposed to be, who my daddy thought I was supposed to be, who my family thinks I'm supposed to be, which not my entire family, but select people in my family, which again, presenting standards and projecting things that they can't even meet themselves, might I add. But just being able to say, Tanika, like those things don't matter. Because the reason that people are even um, projecting those things on you or even trying to make you face those mental roadblocks or be acquainted with those mental roadblocks is because they wish that they were doing half of the things that you were doing. I have this show up a lot in my life to where like I have to be very particular who I share my energy with. I have to be very particular with how I present myself. I have to be very particular with who I just share space with. And it doesn't take me long anymore to really understand like who I can and can't share space with, who I can and can't exchange energy with, because several different reasons. Some of those reasons, of course, are along the lines of how people were raised. Some of those other reasons, of course, are along the lines of the fact that people don't want to grow up. They don't like when you apply pressure to them. They want to, they want to, they want to put pressure on you to do a thing, but they don't want to actually do the thing themselves. They don't want to meet you, you know, halfway in terms of like saying like, hey, let's be this support or whatever that we need to be for each other. So when you just start thinking about how finicky human beings are, how our hearts are, how our beliefs are, and how we were brought up in society, the different types of child rearing that we have had across, you know, parental figures, things like that. All of that shapes how people show themselves to you, how they connect with you, how they develop and how they go on with you or not go on with you, right? And just over the years, I have met some amazing people. I have collaborated with some amazing people. I have been in relationships that I realized were no longer aligned. And I didn't at the time realize that it was a great thing for it to occur the way that it happened in terms of it falling apart or me letting it go. And it wasn't that it didn't hurt, but it was just the fact of like, me knowing that I show up and I gave my all and I presented myself in a way that I know should have what I thought at the time checked all the boxes, but also understanding too, which this is another thing, good girl syndrome. Listen, I have been living my life entirely forever and ever and ever around good girl syndrome, and it has not gotten me far. It has definitely been a roadblock that has held me back. It has definitely been something that has shown up in my romantic life in terms of like men that I meet, and that I have dated, and just things that just just don't align when you just work when you just are having to succumb to the good girl antics or whatever. You'll realize, especially like in dating, a lot of people want you to do a thing, but they don't want to do a thing. A lot of people, and specifically males in this case, because I date males, but a lot of males, um, they want you to be submissive. They want you to, honor them in a way. They want you to basically, be that rock for them, but they don't want to do it for you. And then I have the other dynamic where a lot of males are intimidated about my work ethic. And so that intimidates them because they don't really know what to do with me or how to deal with me, right? They don't know how to keep up. They don't have any drive or anything about themselves. And so what it looks like I'm doing, it becomes intimidating because they're like, well, I should be able to do the same thing, but I can't. I can't keep up with her. So I've encountered that several times. Um, but just knowing that in relationships and in situations from my career, from dating relationships, from business, oh, especially in business, because good girl syndrome thinking that I'm doing other people favors by, if you all could see some of my DMs, right, doing other people favors, trying to assist them and help them or discount things or do things for free. And then you look up and some of these people that you have done this stuff for, they ain't like they don't even know you anymore. They just completely fall off the earth. They completely become ghosts to you until you see them in person, which is very weird. But it's just that good girl complex that I've always had, just saying, oh, it would be, so amazing for me to just be able to help and assist this person. Everything was just slowly chipping away at me. And everything was just slowly becoming a major roadblock for me. I didn't know that I was building up an identity that one day I would look in the mirror and I was going to be so frustrated to the point to where the lies that I had been told in terms of like my upbringing, um, things that I've encountered in dealing with men, things that I have encountered in business, just all kinds of different life lessons. How the good girl syndrome, how the limited beliefs that I had in terms of how my mama said I should be in terms of an adult or a young lady, what my family said I should be in terms of an adult or a young lady, um, how they, how some of them, the people in my life have, looked at me in one regard and just, I guess, felt like that I was never supposed to grow up. I was never supposed to be able to make my own decisions, make my own choices. I was always just supposed to be, little Nika and never just actually like grow up and be able to design my life the way that I want to design it because they didn't take the risk or they didn't take the chances, they didn't take the opportunities to be able to do that for themselves. And so since they didn't, and I'm out here actually trying to take the risk and trying to formulate the life and trying to design my life the way that I want to, and I need to stop saying trying because I'm doing it. The more and more that I journal, the more and more that I go back to the blessings that God has given me, the more and more that I remember, the more and more that I understand the type of transformations and transitions that I have had to make to become the woman that I am right now, today, sitting in front of you. Hey, Jay Woods, sitting in front of you right now, the more I remember that God's grace is sufficient. God has literally, when I say given me everything that I have ever asked for and even things that I have not asked for, but because my life be going 100 miles a minute, sometimes I forget to look back and say, oh my God, my blessed life is really a blessed life. I really have accomplished more than most people that I have come in contact with. I really have accomplished more than definitely quite a few of my family members. I really have accomplished more than what my mom says, I could or could not have, right? What my dad said I could or could not have, right? And trust me, it's way more you can't than it is you can. And one thing that has always been really perplexing to me is that when we're children, they spend so much time telling us you can be anything, you can do anything. The world is so big. You could do and you could be anything when we're children. But the moment you become an adult and you grow up and you decide to actually make those decisions to be anything and do anything, oh my God, it just rubs people the wrong way. It rubs it rubs them the wrong way that you were able to break out of the system and be able to form the life that you desire to have in the way of which you desire to have it. It rubs people the wrong way when you become an adult that is unapologetically themselves and that is free from all of their, I won't necessarily say free from all of their childhood trauma, but they have learned how to manage the childhood trauma and they don't let the childhood trauma manage them, right? You actually took the time to do the work to say, hey, these beliefs, this upbringing, these narratives that I have been fed over these years have not served me. They have not gotten me anywhere. They have caused me to be limited in my capabilities, my possibilities. Even when I think about how I have the potential to even show up and to be able to do things, it has limited me all the way around. And not this week, probably like 2 weeks ago, I thought about that and I got so frustrated that I started crying because I was just like, there are so many things in life that I could have avoided had I just released and let all of that stuff go. Because I was stuck on the narrative of, oh, well, they're saying that because they love me, or they're saying that because they're just trying to look out for me, or they're saying that because they really do care for me. And when you think about it, some of that may stand to be true, but two things to be true at one time. Of course, we all know that, right? When you think about really what was happening in those moments, you can honestly see that they were just projecting their fears on top of you. And they were projecting their fears on you, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, but definitely if knowingly they were projecting their fears, they definitely were projecting their fears knowingly to the point to where they were hoping that they scared you out of your possibilities, out of your opportunities, out of the ability for you to even think for yourself. They were hoping that they could get you scared long enough that you could just reframe your thinking and rewire yourself back to safety because that's familiar, that's comfortable, right? And I feel like I've always had that be a hang up as a common theme in my life. I've always looked to be validated, particularly by specific people, not so much everybody, but definitely had, specific people that I feel like I had a huge respect for, or I may have put them on a pedestal. I worked really hard to be able to gain their acknowledgement and approval. And that's another thing. You don't have to work for love or to be liked or to be acknowledged. It's free. It's free, right? So why is it that a lot of us work for these things? Why is it that a lot of us um think that we have to bear ourselves down to the bone to be even able to have these things? Because we don't, right? Those things are free. It even says in the Bible that this is free, right? Joy is free. Love is free. Grace is free. All of those things are free, right? But if you're somebody that has been brought up like myself to where you've always had to perform for those types of things, when you become an adult, that rolls over into how you show up as an adult. It rolls over into how you show up in your career. It rolls over into whether or not you start that business or not, or whether or not that business becomes successful, because you have always been taught to work for those things that are free. And that's not what you're supposed to do, right? So just in the past few months, I've been working through all of those and just how I can, for one, take some of these things to my community. So shout out to the girls in HER Alchemy Lab because we're getting ready to take it up a notch. That is my private membership community. That we talk about all things identity shift, psychology, and mindset. This is where we talk about it. And we bridge some of those things really to business, right? We bridge some of those things to business and career. Like, how is this impacting you in these other areas? We build the bridge to be able to see why these things are limiting and why they are holding you back, so you can learn the techniques and things that you need to let go. And hopefully, once you learn them, it's easy for you to just toss them aside, right? I say that, but I know we struggle with letting things go. And it's okay, right? Some things you do have to grieve before you can completely just disassociate with them, right? Some things you do have to give yourself grace with when you become aware. That's why self-awareness is so, so key. People really do not value self-awareness enough to the point to where they use it as a tool to be a life hack, to help them get further in life, to help them get further in their business, in their career, to just help them develop as a person and an individual. People really do not use it correctly. And if they really took the time to really think about what it was that it could do, they would learn how to use it as a tool and use it to their advantage. They wouldn't hesitate to do that, right? So my thing is, now that I'm aware of all of the things that I feel like I've been downloading over the past couple of months, I'm definitely at the point of where um, I'm just going to get rid of it because I have to go to the next level. I have to turn it up a notch. I have to be able to bring other people to even where I am right now, but also help be a catalyst to push them through. And that's just my job as a coach and as a consultant, right? That is something that I'm going to do. That is just what I'm supposed to do as a coach and consultant. I'm supposed to challenge your beliefs. I'm supposed to challenge your behaviors. I'm supposed to challenge your habits and how you show up and how those things are affecting you or impacting you, right? I'm supposed to do those things. If I'm not doing those things, then I'm not doing you or me any service or justice, right? So the important thing is once you become self-aware and once you realize that these things are what's holding you back, is first you need to have a funeral for them. Like I said, the grief part, I don't think you will be able to avoid. And the grief is either going to do one or two things. It's either going to put you in a standstill or it's going to motivate you so much to the point to where you just never get back to that point in your life ever again. It truly changes your perspective. It truly makes you look at, well, darn, what have I been doing all of this time? What have I been sacrificing all of this time? Why have I been sacrificing myself to be able to appease others and receive their approval when they are not even meeting half of the standards that they have set for themselves? Why am I sacrificing myself to try to get acknowledgement from that person? Why did I put that person or group of people or whoever on a pedestal? Why did I do that? Right? It makes you ask so many questions, and that's part of the grieving process, and that's okay. You more than likely can't avoid that process, right? But once you ask yourself those self-awareness and self-discovery questions, you have to figure out how to transmute that energy then into, okay, now that I'm self-aware about this thing, how do I translate this new perspective and newfound energy into something that is going to either help me show up better in my career, help me show up better in my business, and just help me be an overall better human being. So that's when we get into human performance, which shout out to me because I'm a human performance coach, right? So that's how we get into human performance. That's how we start looking and dissecting your neural pathways to understand, how did you even get here to this point? How did this even start looking like this? When did you deem that it was acceptable to shrink yourself to a point to where you became so digestible that really you just started eating away at yourself? Really is what happened, right? So at what point did it become that it got that bad, right? Um, Once you realize those things, those are some of the things that you have to consider. Sorry, I'm in. Those are some of the things that you have to consider, right? And then once you have taken the time to really draw the connection and draw the correlation, you can say, the reason that I'm scared to charge more in my business is because I'm holding on to this belief or this narrative. The reason that I'm scared to go after larger opportunities in my business is because I'm holding this belief or this narrative. The reason that I have not tried to position myself for promotion or go after a higher role is because of this belief and this narrative. The reason why I feel so much tension every time I go to a family function is because of these beliefs and these narratives. Because now I've outgrown the fact that I want to perform. It's no longer about performing anymore. It's about showing up as you, just being yourself. And I know we say that all the time. I know we talk about authenticity all the time, but authenticity has become inauthentic across the internet, right? Because we use it so freely and so willy-nilly. But when you think about it, this is what it looks like to truly tap into true and real authenticity. This is what it looks like to truly tap into who this person is that you were truly designed to be, that God designed you to be, that God delivered a God designed purpose for, right? That God already knew this is what this person is going to do. This is why I'm creating them, right? And so when you start looking at like basically how much of royalty you truly are in that regard, you start looking at things differently. Because if my assignment has came from God, if my assignment has come from his word, whatever he's assigned to me, the belief of or not the belief or perspective of others has to be put through that filter. Let's just say that. So it's one thing that Pastor Darius Daniels always says a lot. And it's when you are basically up to like decipher or make decisions, right? Because being indecisive is definitely something that also holds people back. So when you're faced with decisions or commentary that you have to figure out how to filter through to figure out how you're going to respond to it or make a decision, he talks about putting things through a God filter. So if you know that your assignment is said assignment and you've sat down, had this conversation with God, you just nodded, you didn't cry, all of the things, you know what God told you. You don't have to spend your time trying to prove to other people, because your job is not to prove to them. Your job is to just fulfill the work that you have been assigned to do. Right. But I think we spend so much time trying to prove who we are to people and prove that we are capable of doing something and perform and prove for other people's approval and validation, that it gets wrapped up in there to the point where we lose the perspective of what we're really doing it for, or even what we're really doing. That's how we start to get sidetracked. That's how we start to forget who we really are. That's when you start facing some major identity shifts. That's when you start realizing some things that you shouldn't have been dibbling and dabbling in start to come up. Stuff like that, right? That's when all of those things start to come up. And so when you finally do break through all of those barriers and you become free from like those perspectives and those expectations and the performances that you have been putting on for so long, it just gives you a new, like, it's just weightless. It gives you so much freedom in terms of, okay, now that I know this, now I'm free to be who I'm designed to be. Now I'm free to design life however I want to design life, as long as I'm meeting it to God's standard, right? I'm free to be able to move without trying to figure out, well, what is this person going to say? And how are they going to perceive this? And how are they going to feel about this? And, will they judge me if I do X, Y, and Z? No, because you're not doing it for them, right? They don't know your assignment. They don't know your purpose. They don't know your talents. They don't know your background. They don't know your spiritual gifts. They don't know any of that information, right? Without you telling them or sharing it with them. And the thing is, even after you share it with them, they still gonna act like they don't know, right? You can tell them, you can literally tell people, oh, I just had this conversation, me and God just had this conversation, I had this revelation, and he specifically said X, Y, and Z to me. And somebody will be like, he can tell you that. And in some cases, sometimes God don't be telling y'all that. But y'all know what I mean. Like from people who are like from a manipulative perspective, or people who are trying to just shoot you down every opportunity that they get because you're deciding that you want to be bigger, you want to be better, you want to go after the life that God has ordained for you. And so they want to try to shame you for wanting to do that. They want to try to shame you for wanting to do more that they have ever challenged themselves to do. And so it's either one or two things that are going to happen from that. It's either you are going to take upon the challenge to still fulfill the work that you know that you're supposed to be doing, or you're going to shrink yourself and succumb to the thoughts and the responses that you are getting from other people who don't do that, right? And so I feel like a lot of my life for a very long time has been centered around that. And I know it has held me back for a very long time. And I'm okay with sitting up here, sharing this information with you all. I'm actually going to post this video to my YouTube channel too. But I'm okay with sitting up here sharing this information with you all because I think, as somebody who is currently 35 years old, young woman living in today's time, having these breakthrough moments are very, very important. They change everything about like how you do everything, how you show up, how you do everything, how you present yourself, how you trust, how you date, how you handle your money, your parental relationships, how you connect or don't connect with your family. Like it's so many things that it impacts. So many things that it impacts. And so people really have to take the time to like really get to know themselves, really understand what it is, like I said, those things that are holding them back, that are keeping them in bondage, that are literally like choking the life out of them. And they're so frustrated trying to figure out, well, God is not telling me this, or this ain't working out, and they're not looking at what's actually happening. They're not also not doing the self-reflection as well too, to say like, well, what am I doing or not doing? What am I not committing to? What have I not been open to receive, right? What have I limited myself from having because of these things, or because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, right? All of these things are things that you are going to grieve over when you come in contact with the revelation that this is what it is, right? And so how does that translate into what I'm doing with Cultivate? Um, that translate into, like I said, me focusing more on being a human performance expert, which I've always been, right? But it's the repositioning of, okay, now we're really taking the time to truly identify and dissect identity shifts, neuro-linguistic programming, psychology, in and out, um, mindset, and just really looking at how that affects you and impacts you in your life and your business, and helping people see the transformative value in what it looks like to actually release those beliefs, release those limiting thoughts, release those limiting plans, those things that just don't even make sense, they don't even align with you. Um, just release so much, right? So they can be able to transform into who they truly want to be. So when we look at human performance, that's what that's about, right? That's what I've truly been doing all my life. Um, I've had the blessing of working with some amazing people that I've just been able to watch them transform and assist them in their transformation. And even some of them who you all may not even realize I've assisted with, but I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of high performing people, people that just had the grit. They just wanted to go after it. They just wanted more for themselves, and just helping them through their transformation as to what that looks like, what it even looks like to be able to draw the line from A to B, right? And continue on down the line. And so what that looks like I said, for Cultivate is truly like honing in on the human performance aspect. Still definitely very much organizational development consulting. So if you're looking for somebody who can come in and either help you formulate an organization and put all the proper structures in place, that's definitely what I can help you come in and do. If you're somebody who is looking for corporate wellness options and activities or programming for your employees, no matter how big or small the team is. My goal is to hopefully impact more small and medium-sized businesses to understand the impact of corporate wellness, so they can understand, like, not just large corporations need this, but also they need it as well too, and customize solutions for them, in their small teams, right? Like I said, a team is never too big or too small to try to incorporate well-being, right? um Speaking, hopefully more speaking. I'm wanting to do more speaking. And definitely more collaborations with organizations. I still have not publicly announced my last major corporate partnership, but that is coming very soon publicly. But if you're on the email list, you already got that information, right? So doing more of those, showing up more in my leadership training capabilities. So I'm pretty sure a lot of organizations will be booking me for that. A lot of businesses will be booking me for that. Doing a lot more workforce development projects. So there's a nonprofit that I work with that's what we do. We do workforce development projects and opportunities. So excited about those, and even looking into like what it looks like to do workforce development internally inside of organizations instead of just externally, right? um Man, it's just so much good stuff. I'm working on something else with my financial advisor right now to bring you all, to help you all with your financial goals, especially going into 2026. It's going to help you with your financial goals, but also your business goals as well too. But there's a process and there's very specific steps. So I'm excited to be able to do that webinar with him, probably later this month, if not in December, and help people in my private community, HER Alchemy Lab. So that is a space where you can test new habits, new beliefs, receive training from a professional, i.e., me, get support from your community and people who are going through a lot of the same similar thoughts, and life experiences that you are going through or have had them, and they are just looking for a new, or they are looking for a space of support to be able to understand how to process these emotions, and turn them into transformative outcomes. So, what does it look like now that you have processed this thing? You understand this thing better. What does it look like to transmute that energy into something that is going to benefit you in how you show up? So, true alchemy, right? That's why I love alchemy. I love talking about alchemy so much because I feel like it really, really, really represents my life. One of my friends told me, I never forget Brittany. Shout out to Brittany. She was just here in town from DC. I'll never forget. She was like, "Baby, if anybody can make something out of nothing, it's you. I've never seen anything like it. Like you have always been able to make something out of nothing." And she's right. That's literally been, I feel like, my entire life. But I'm grateful that I had that experience to be able to share and translate that to other people, and how they can use and leverage those same life experiences as well to do those things to transform. I've also been crowned the queen of transformation at some point as well too in my journey. So just knowing when to pivot, and knowing that you have the proper professional support to be able to do that, right? Because it's not easy. Those things are not easy. And also, my new life coaching program, this one-to-one coaching for 6 or 12 months, that's called The Art of Becoming. I have not publicly said anything about that until now, But if you are looking to truly go through a transformative, alchemic, Phoenix Rising type process, the Art of Becoming is definitely a program that could possibly be a great fit for you. I'm very particular about who can and who can't go through that program, right? But if you're just like, the time is now, I have to do it now, I need the support, I'm willing to make the investment because the investment in me catapults the other things that I'm asking to come into fruition, then you are ready and you will probably make a great candidate. And we'll be able to know that with those thoughts, along with you completing an assessment, which I can share with you if you just send me a message, follow me on socials, send me a message, a DM, or you can comment on this video and let me know that you want to take the assessment to see where your numbers are, see how you stack up, and see if something like the Art of Becoming is a good transformative life coaching program for you to help you build and become your true self, the identity that you would love to be in 100% without having to perform or be validated or acknowledged by other people, and having to do that on, like I said, a performance basis. You're doing what you love to do and being the identity of who you love to be, regardless of how it looks to others, right? It's your genuine transformed self, right? So if the Art of Becoming is something that you want to look into in terms of life coaching, one-to-one, I have their program available now as well too. Like I said, this is my first public announcement about it. Hey, Abita, and I'll be sharing more information about what that looks like. I miss you too. We need to go to lunch. I've been praying for you too. I know you're doing really great at your role and your position. So, and I'm gonna donate to your cause for the food drive that you're doing too. I haven't forgot. I saw it and I was like, I need to go back and do that. But yeah, so those are the few things that I have coming up. And then I'm going to be releasing like some classes. So you're going to see my digital product library grow here over the next few months as well too. Thank you. And I am going to be releasing some classes. There'll be some free trainings that'll be going out to my private community as well as my email list, possibly. But really more so probably my private community, because I'm gonna be spending a whole lot more time in there. That's a space where I could just come in. I could do whatever I want to do because it's my space, right? I don't have to worry about like being canceled on Facebook or something like that, right? But it's a great community. I love my little school community that I have built, and the ladies are super excited for where we are going and where we are headed. This month we're going to be focusing more on faith and finances, and that's what they selected. So we're going to go all in faith, finances, limiting beliefs around faith and finances, how that's impacting you in your business and your career, and where else is limiting you as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about, probably pretty much going into the end of the year. Um, and yeah, man, like, I don't know, get on the email list, sign up for a program, get services, do all the things. Like, connect me with people who need it. Refer me. If you have had a great experience with Cultivate, you've attended any of my classes, workshops, any of that, it is very important that you leave a review, a Google review, about your experience with us, because that helps us continue to do what we have been able to do here in the community, which is offer free education, free small business education, training, through partnerships that we have. Like I said, I haven't publicly announced the new one yet, but those of you that have been on the email list, you all got the information. Hopefully, you have got your application in for the program that was mentioned in there. So hopefully, I'll see some of you all on your interviews, because I am conducting interviews from that application process. And yeah, so if there are any questions, if you have anything you want to ask me, you can do a little ask me anything in the comments. If you're missing this, if you're just tuning in and you're catching the replay, you can do an ask me anything in the comments. I actually meant to put that in the caption, I forgot. And yeah, I'll come back and answer. And I'll just continue to keep sharing the downloads and the revelations and the mindset shifts that I have been having over the past few months. because they have been major. And I'm excited about the woman that will start showing up, because she has been able to release a lot of those limiting beliefs and narratives that were once told to her but are no longer serving her. So I'm excited to see where Tanika's going to be. And I'm excited to see where Cultivate is going to be. So that's all I wanted you. I just wanted to pop in for a little bit. I got to do this homework, and yeah, I'll talk to you all soon, I hope.